Welcome back. I just finished watching the third episode of Sam and Max Freelance Police, and this is one of those episodes where I didn't enjoy it that much my first time through, but on this second time I think I enjoyed it a lot more. It really keeps moving along in terms of its pace and its jokes. It never feels like it gets too bogged down. And I think the real important facet of this episode, which sort of ties everything together and is the real highlight or thing of interest, I guess you could say, is the relationship between Sam and Max and how this sort of showcases and puts a bit of a strain on it, more so than most episodes. So basically, just to give a recap of the plot briefly, in this episode, Sam and Max find themselves stranded on an island filled with a tribe of native guinea pigs, and Max is crowned king, and basically the conflict comes in where Max wants to stay and Sam wants to leave, and from there on out things progress and they have to escape, and so that's basically the episode. It's not a super plot heavy episode. A character being crowned king or a leader by a tribe is a very sort of stock plot for cartoons, I feel. But as I said earlier, what's really interesting is because of the Sam and Max relationship in this episode is what makes it interesting. Mainly because, and I've touched upon this in my full review, in my series overview review, but the thing that really holds the series together is that relationship. And so often, Sam and Max are on the exact same page. There's never a cheap misunderstanding episode of any kind. You know what I mean? They're very good friends, or possibly more than friends, as again I've covered in my series overview, most likely more than friends. And they always stick on that same page. They're such a good duo, and their interactions with each other are so entertaining and charming. And so what's interesting here is that they put a bit of a strain on that relationship in that Max is the one that wants to stay, whereas Sam is more about wants to leave because he's more business-minded in a way. And so I think that's interesting in that it highlighted a personality difference where Max is much more about pleasure first. And what I love about it is that despite the fact that they're doing this bit of a divide, they don't get cheap with it. It's not about these two getting in an argument, because Max states, I still want you around. He directly says, I'll stay here and you can be my royal food taster, And they do still care about each other, even though this specific thing is beginning to cause a divide. And they get back together very quickly. There's not this whole arc about them, having to get in an argument and then coming back together eventually, and they don't do any of that. They keep it very realistic as to how friends would act. And what's great is that, again, in showing off this relationship in the episode, it puts the characters in emotional extremes in a way, where there's a scene where Sam thinks Max's brain has been spliced out, and so he gets a big grand reaction. And then later on, we see Sam get turned into a blanket, and so we see Max's reaction, which is very intensely emotional for him. And that extremeness of both of those reactions are comedic, yes, but from a character perspective, it really shows how much these two care about each other. And so I think from that whole perspective, where you want to see these characters poked and prodded a bit, and then maybe their relationship shown off a bit, then I think this is a great episode for that. The rest of it is up and down. The ending feels like, okay, we're wrapping things up now, you know what I mean? They sort of Deus Ex Machina in it. But other than that, I don't have much to say. I think really the relationship and how it is handled in this episode is what I wanted to talk about. And other than that, I don't have much to say. So I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Feel free to like or dislike and subscribe if you want more Sam and Max and other reviews. Thank you for watching so much, and I hope you have a lovely day.